It's time for NCW Life News on the NCW Life channel. The latest from the Wenatchee Valley and North Central Washington with Steve Hare, Grant Olson, and sports with Eric Granstrom.
Good evening and welcome to NCW Life News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top stories, let's take a look out our weather window. And as we take a look down at the city of Wenatchee, yeah, it's down there somewhere. You can barely see the footbridge and also George Cellar Bridge in the background, but smoke is what everyone is talking about right now, along with hot temperatures. And we'll tell you how long that smoke will stick around and just how hot we'll get coming up a little bit later on in our broadcast in your complete weather forecast. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. We'll have a report on air quality throughout the valley. The Greater Wenatchee Area Technology Alliance will host its summer social tomorrow, and Kids and Cops celebrate National Night Out. Later on, we'll have your sports, weather forecast, and our feature story today. But first, primary election night returns show voters overwhelming support for fire district levies in Leavenworth and Wenatchee. Fire districts 3 and 1 are both passing with over 70% yes votes. In other Chelan County races, Keith Huffager holds a lead in his bid for re-election to the Wenatchee City Council. Huffager and Adam McDonald appear to be on their way to facing off in the November election. In Chelan, Mary Signorelli and Jeremy Jach are the leading vote getters in the race for position 1 on the Lake Chelan Hospital District Board. Phyllis Gleesman and Jerry Eisenhart are leading in the position 5 commission seat. And it appears that Tim Hollingsworth and Cameron Skip Morehouse will face off in November as the top 2 candidates for the Chelan City Council. In the NEAT City Council contest, Robert Anderson is the top vote getter. He will face Norman Stenberg in November. It also appears that voters in East Wenatchee, in the East Wenatchee Water District, want new leadership, judging from last night's primary election returns. Longtime Commissioner Mike McCourt is going down to defeat as Nick Warner and John Sturck advance to the general election. In the Eastmont School Board position 4 race, Dave Pepple received over 50% of the vote and will face John Brangwyn in November. All of the results are unofficial until the elections are certified. Wenatchee and Leavenworth area fire officials were all smiles today following the results of Tuesday's primary election. Chelan County Fire District 1 Chief Mike Burnett says he was extremely grateful for the voter support.
Appreciate the citizens of Chelan County Fire District 1 supporting us, and we have frequently said that if we have a good message and we work together, the citizens have shown that they'll support us, and once again, they have. And on behalf of the commissioners and the people that work at Chelan District 1, we're all extremely pleased and thankful.
Chelan County Fire District 3 Chief Kelly O'Brien expressed his appreciation.
It's a whole new beginning for us, essentially, in the fire protection business, and we look forward to starting that process.
Election day was marred by poor air quality caused by smoke drifting in from Canada wildfires. Could that have influenced the vote?
Yeah, I didn't order that up at all. I like my clean air as much as anybody else. Although a couple of community members said, well, that was timely of you.
The levies are both passing with over 70% approval. Speaking of air quality, late yesterday afternoon, the National Weather Service in Spokane issued an air quality alert for several areas of Washington state, including right here in the Wenatchee Valley. The air quality alert calls for increased smoke from area wildfires, particularly wildfires in Canada and the Diamond Creek fire burning near Mazama in the Pasayten Wilderness. Air quality will fluctuate between good and unhealthy throughout the week, with little or no wind expected. The 7 counties affected are Chelan, Douglas, Okanagan, Spokane, Ferry, Stevens, and Pend Oreille. Authorities advise those with asthma, respiratory infection, diabetes, or lung disease to limit outdoor activities and wear a breathing mask if necessary. The air quality alert is in effect until noon on Saturday. The Greater Wenatchee Area Technology Alliance, or GWATA, hosts its annual Summer Social tomorrow with music, food, wine, and entertainment. Or, Organizers say this year's event is being held at the Highlander Golf Course.
'Cause I got a This is really just an event to thank our members, thank our sponsors, thank our board, bring everyone together for a fun evening of networking, food, drink, raffles, music. We have Eden Moody coming.
She's good.
She's great. She'll be coming and performing live for us. So it'll be a fun event. This will be actually my first summer social, so I'm excited.
We've done it for a number of years, and it's been up at Omi Gardens for a little while, and which is a beautiful location. And this year, because we have partnered with the STEM Network for this particular event, we have more people that are coming. We have quite a few people that are coming from out of the area who will be here for 2 days for STEM Network meetings.
GWADA Executive Director Stacy Lukensmeyer and Marketing and Events Coordinator Becca Freimuth joined Dan Kuntz on a recent Wake Up Wenatchee Valley program. The summer social starts at 5:30 on Thursday. Contact GWADA for ticket information. Coming up, kids and cops celebrate National Night Out, and a suspected drunk driver is arrested after a hit and run last night. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching NCW Life News.
Get the fastest internet available in North Central Washington by switching to LocalTel and get speeds up to 1,000 meg. Call 888-8888 today or go online to localtel.net.
Law enforcement agencies from all over the country celebrated National Night Out Tuesday night. The Wenatchee Valley event was held at Centennial Park in downtown Wenatchee. Considering last week's shooting at the Albertson store in Wenatchee, we asked Chelan County Sheriff Brian Burnett about the process involved in the current investigation and how the general public is responding to local law enforcement.
In light of everything that happened last Thursday, you've talked to a lot of people. I've noticed that since we've been here. What has been the overall comment that you've heard from the general public regarding that incident?
From the general public, overwhelming support. Thank you for what you do. And what I've always told them is what you need to have is you need to have trust in your local leaders in our law enforcement, that if something happens that we have systems in place to work through those. So we have a special investigative unit that's comprised of multiple agencies. So it's reduced liability and to get rid of any doubt in people's minds on the integrity of the investigation. So in this case, Wenatchee PD had the officer involved in the shooting. They're taken out of the venue. They don't have any investigators. They're tied in and they're sharing information. But as far as the reports and the interviews, that's all going to come from the other agencies, multiple agencies. Those reports will be finished, put together, and then of course that goes up to the prosecutor.
I'll tell you, having this event tonight is pretty good timing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You could say good or bad. And actually, there was some concern as far as the public. There were some Facebook posts and some threats and different things. And I was really, really hopeful that wouldn't happen. If somebody wants to have a peaceful assembly, I mean, by law, they're allowed that. I was really hoping it wouldn't happen here, even the peaceful one, just because there's a lot of kids here, there's a lot of families here, and we really want them to get that experience to build those relationships. And like I said, to tear down those walls, because there are future leaders, there are future parents and adults that are going to live here in this community, and then we can build those relationships. I think it changes the way that people look at law enforcement.
And considering there are no, I guess, quote-unquote protesters, whatever, here tonight, it's got to be a relief to all of you, isn't it?
Oh, it is. And again, we're not going to let it derail us. We don't want to put anybody safety at risk, by no doubt. And if we thought there was an extreme risk, we wouldn't do that. But I'm glad we're able to move forward and do those and make a nice event.
Police say a suspected drunk driver was arrested last night after he struck a parked car with his pickup truck and then drove off with part of the car's bumper attached to his vehicle. Captain Edgar Reinfeld says the accident occurred in the 11 o'clock hour on Crawford Street when witnesses reported seeing the suspect vehicle driving away from the scene. Reinfeld says officers located the pickup by following a trail of radiator fluid from the accident scene to the driveway of the suspect's residence.
Kind of a classic no-brainer case as they go to pull the bumper off and prepare to tow away the pickup. The rear license plate for the victim vehicle fell out and hit the ground, so that was pretty clear and convincing evidence that they had found the right vehicle. The driver of the pickup truck, Michael Parrish, a 43-year-old male from Wenatchee, was arrested for DUI and hit and run unattended and was booked in a CCRJ.
Reinfeld says there were no injuries involved. You're watching NCW Life News. Coming up next, Eric Granstrom has your sports update, followed by our feature story today. That and much more still to come on NCW Life News. Stay with us.
Are you wanting high-speed internet but don't have access to PUD fiber? Try Sky-Fi high-speed wireless internet from LocalTel. Call 888-8888 today. And now it's a sports update on the NCW Life channel.
And a good Wednesday. I hope you're surviving this smoke okay. It has caused problems with our local rec programs. The Wenatchee City Pool was closed again today. Their outdoor programs for Special Olympics and some of the outdoor activities were canceled for the day. So hopefully you're able to stay inside and keep away from the smoke. The smoke in the Wenatchee Valley is so bad, the Apple Sox have decided to move its games with Corvallis to Yakima. Yesterday's game was postponed to today when they'd hoped to play a doubleheader, but that also was scrubbed. So the two teams will play a doubleheader at Yakima's Parker Field beginning tomorrow at 11 a.m. The third game, if necessary, will be played next Monday at Paul Thomas. Wenatchee came into today a half game out of first place with 6 games remaining on their schedule. After tomorrow's doubleheader, the Sox have 3 games at Bellingham. A decision will be made Sunday night if they'll need to make up the game with Corvallis based on playoff standings. In the West Coast League last night in smokeless communities, it was Yakima Valley down in Cowlitz 1-0. Taylor Dollard pitched 8 innings of 2-hit shutout ball for the Pippins, while Brad Beasley's homer in the 8th was the run's only run. Victoria down Bellingham 10-4. Kevin Collar was 3 for 3 with a home run, 3 RBIs, 3 runs to lead the Harbor Cats back into the win column, and a wild one in Kelowna. 8-7 the final. Kelowna over Walla Walla. The Falcons scored 5 runs in the bottom of the ninth, capped by Taylor Wright's walk-off 2-run single. So the standings have Victoria on top, 14-10, Wenatchee a half game back at 12-9. Well, the spring sports season for high school teams in Washington is long over, but postseason awards are still coming out, including the All-State Awards. Here are the selections for players in North Central Washington. First of all, in soccer, the Class 4A Wenatchee's Luis Navarrete and Matt Springer were first-teamers. In Class 1A, Chelan's Rafael Barajas was a first-team selection. Brewster's Felix Nava, second-team. Edgar Najira and Rodrigo Gomez, honorable mention. Cascades' Arturo Avila and Brian Sanchez Jr., second-teamers. Alexis Tovar and Jose Mendoza Jr., honorable mentions. To the baseball All-State selections, in the 4A, it was Wenatchee's Keegan Romig and Mikey Thomas and Eastmont's Mitchell Tomlinson. In the 1A selections, Cashmere's Tyler Chipman, Cross Knoll, and Tanner Van Lith. Congratulations. The Mariners jumped out to a 5-run lead early and then had to hang on for its 4th win in a row, downing Texas 8-7 last night. Nelson Cruz's solo homer sparked the early Mariners onslaught, but Rougned Odor and Joey Gallo homered in a 3-run 4th inning to cut the deficit. After the Mariners tacked on 3 more runs in the 6th, Gallo homered again in the bottom of the frame, this time a 3-run shot. After scoring a run in the 7th, Texas had the tying run at first base. An inning later, but pinch runner Delano DeShields was thrown out by center fielder Gerard Dyson while trying to advance to third on a single. Manager Scott Servais says that play was huge.
Play of the game is probably the Dyson throw at third base. Soft liner, he came up, made a great throw, and the tag, the pick and tag that Seager threw on DeShields was awesome. That's tough to do. And big point in the game, you got to make a big play to help our pitching once in a while, and we did tonight. So good ball game, nice win, not an easy one. I think we knew coming into the game tonight we're going to have to, kind of piece it together with the pitching, and we had just enough.
Seattle used 7 pitchers in the game to get the victory, something Servais said he kind of figured going in.
I knew, with the Rasmus hadn't made a start in a long time, it was going to be kind of interesting, I guess, how long we were going to stay with him. I thought he threw the ball really well early in the game. I thought his stuff was very sharp, and then kind of hit the wall. I think we saw it, the ball started to get up, and it just wasn't as crisp, the Odor home run and then the Gallo home run that he just got pretty good, I guess is one way to put it. But Casey Lawrence did okay, and obviously Joe Gallo had a big night tonight. He can do that. He's got big power, but our offense kept hanging in there. We needed to add on. We did. I thought we used a bunch of different guys in the bullpen tonight to get through the ball game, and we got some big outs. Obviously, Zubchinski was really big again tonight. Nick Vincent has done it all year for us.
That's sports news. Grant, back to you.
Eric. With temperatures possibly hitting triple digits this week, Dr. Shauna Bayes at Paws and Claws Animal Hospital has this to say when it comes to keeping your pets cool.
I'm pleased to have this opportunity to talk about heat exhaustion and heat stroke in pets, as many people are not aware how dangerous heat can be to animals. Any animal can get dehydrated and overheat, but certain animals are more susceptible than others. That can include the short-nosed breeds, such as what we call brachycephalic breeds, like pugs, boxers, and bulldogs, animals that are really young or elderly, animals with health conditions such as heart problems, or animals that are obese. There are a number of things to avoid when it is hot outside. That would include leaving your pet in a parked car. Cars can overheat really rapidly, and your pet could overheat in a matter of minutes. So please make sure you never leave your pet in a parked car. While many people are familiar with issues with parked cars, not as many are familiar that a doghouse can actually have the same issues. They might think there's shade and shelter for your dog, but that doghouse can be very, very hot and too hot for your dog to go in. So please make sure your dog has appropriate shade. Also be very careful not to over-exercise pets when it is warm during the day. It's very important, so no chasing the ball or running when it is warm outside. Walks should be brief and kept to the cooler part of the day. Another thing people may not think about is hot asphalt. Asphalt can burn the sensitive paw pads on dogs, and dogs are much closer to the asphalt than people, and so the heat coming off the asphalt can actually cause them to overheat rapidly. Some things that we do recommend is making sure your pets have plenty of shade and fresh, clean water at all times. It's very important that, of course, all of us want to be inside where there's air conditioning and it's nice and cool, but if your dog does have to be outside, make sure they always have shade and plenty of fresh, clean water. We recommend using a wading pool or sprinklers to help cool them off, but if you use a wading pool, make sure the water is shallow, as not all dogs are good swimmers. If your dog does become overheated, you may notice excessive panting, difficulty breathing, vomiting or drooling, and rapid heart rate. You may notice they become weak, can lead to collapse, seizures, and death. It's very important to intervene immediately. Take your pet to a cooler place, and you may apply either cool or room temperature water. Do not apply cold or ice to the dog, as cooling too rapidly can actually cause more problems. And then call your veterinarian immediately. Hopefully together we can keep pets safe, cool, and happy this summer.
Some great advice. We'll be back in just a moment with a recap of yesterday's primary election results and your complete weather forecast right after this. Is your vehicle in need of a quick oil change or tune-up before hitting the road this summer? Stop by Quick Lube and Tune, the home of the good guys at 610 South Wenatchee Avenue. And now for a recap of our top story. Primary election night returns show voters' overwhelming support for Fire District levies in Leavenworth and Wenatchee. Fire District 3s and 1 are both passing with over 70% yes votes. In other Chelan County races, Keith Huffager holds a lead in his bid for re-election to the Wenatchee City Council. Huffager and Adam McDonald appear to be on their way to facing off in the November election. In Chelan, Mary Signorelli and Jeremy Jach are the leading vote-getters in the race for position 1 on the Lake Chelan Hospital District Board. Phyllis Gleesman and Jerry Eisenhart are leading in the position 5 commission seat. It appears that Tim Hollingsworth and Cameron Skip Morehouse will face off in November as the top 2 candidates for the Chelan City Council. In the Eniat City Council contest, Robert Anderson is the top vote-getter. He will face Norman Stenberg in November. It appears voters in the East Wenatchee Water District want new leadership, judging from last night's primary election returns. Longtime Commissioner Mike McCourt is going down to defeat as Nick Warner and John Sturck advance to the general election. In the Eastmont School Board Position 4 race, Dave Pepple received over 50% of the vote and will face John Brangwyn in November. All of the results are unofficial until elections are certified. Wenatchee and Leavenworth area fire officials were all smiles today following the results of Tuesday's primary election. Chelan County Fire District 1 Chief Mike Burnett says he was extremely grateful for the voters' support.
Appreciate the citizens of Chelan County Fire District 1 supporting us, and we have frequently said that if we have a good message and we work together, the citizens have shown that they'll support us, and once again, they have. And on behalf of the commissioners and the people that work at Chelan District 1, we're all extremely pleased and thankful.
Chelan County Fire District 3 Chief Kelly O'Brien expressed his appreciation.
It's a whole new beginning for us, essentially, in the fire protection business, and we look forward to starting that process.
Election Day was marred by poor air quality caused by smoke drifting in from Canada's wildfires. Could that have influenced the vote?
Yeah, I didn't order that up at all. I like my clean air as much as anybody else. Although a couple of community members said, well, that was timely of you.
The levies are both passing with over 70% approval. And now your weather forecast for north central Washington. Once again, let's take a look outside our weather window. And yeah, it's smoky all across central and eastern Washington. Actually, about 2/3 of the state seeing smoke. August is beginning with much warmer than average temperatures as well. Our normal high temperature for this time of year is 89 degrees. Readings will climb well into the 90s and triple digits today, Thursday, Friday, and into early next week. Wildfire smoke will remain and may even become more prominent this week as smoke from fires in British Columbia and Montana become trapped under an increasingly strong ridge of high pressure. You can see that just off the coast of British Columbia. That clockwise rotation is that high pressure that just hasn't left us in about 3 weeks now. And the pinks, purples, and reds on our map, those are the scorching hot temperatures all over the western United States, with temperatures from Arizona all the way up into Washington State in the upper 90s to around 120 degrees. Here's a look at your forecast now. We can expect mild overnight lows tonight once again with smoke in the air. 73 for the low tonight, about 100 tomorrow for not quite as smoky tomorrow. We might hit that century mark. 102 for Friday, your high. 75 the low Friday night. And for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, temperatures right around 100 with lows in the mid-70s, and will stay that way right through our forecast period. And closing out our newscast today, love flourished on the Wenatchee waterfront yesterday morning. The NCW Life cameras were on hand for a very special moment.
I got it. My son. Oh. Your heart's like.
All right, you guys can go probably down there.
Okay. Oh my. Snuck down.
Are you serious? Yes. She said yes!
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
If you have a video of the day you'd like to see on NCW Life News, message us on our Facebook page at the NCW Life channel. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around north central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or just give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us and have a great night.
This has been NCW Life News on the NCW Life channel. For more news, log on to ncwlife.com, like us on Facebook, and follow NCW Life channel on Twitter.
Have a fun video you'd like to see featured on NCW Life? Email us at newsphotos@ncwlife.com.